Hey, Kevin here with Imagination Hobbies. I know this video is kind of later than expected, but I got kind of sidetracked. I finished painting the goblins off to the right finally, and then everything to the left of that kind of was already painted before. So I'm just going to do a little overview of so far my savage orc themed army. It's like a tribal theme. They don't really use a lot of metal or any at all, and they have a lot of stone weapons. So I just figured I'd do a little overview of the units I have finished. I mean, for the most part, they're finished, and a bunch of stuff over here that I still got to paint, unfortunately. But it should be a cool army once it's done. There's a lot of conversions going on. So this is kind of like what inspired the theme to begin with. I saw these on eBay, and I already really like Savage Orcs in general from the Warhammer Fantasy model range line. And someone converted this up and made their own chariot. The only thing I would change is I'd probably put like stone wheels on it. But other than that, it's really cool, like a custom built chariot. And so I saw both of these online. There's two of them on eBay, and I bought them both, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. All right, so there's going to be like a premise, I guess. I wanted something a scheme to like quickly be able to paint it. And then so that's when these guys came in play. I assembled and painted all these guys in a very similar paint scheme. I mean, almost identical. I tried to give them varied like skin tones, and it's just something really quick, nothing that I was trying to get super detailed on. But I do like how they turned out, just leaving a lot of basically painting right over the black on the primer. So I'd prime it black, and then I would just purposely only paint sections, leaving black in the cracks to give it more definition and to make it pop from like further away. And you get close, you see how bad it is. But again, it's something I wanted to just be able to like finish an army with, that make it look half decent. And I think from far away it looks perfectly fine. And so there's only a couple unpainted guys left in this unit, but there's like my Savage Orc biggins, I guess you'd call them. Here's a hero that I painted. I found this guy on eBay for a steal of a deal. This model is like out of print, so to speak. It's not really being made anymore. It's an older metal model, and because it was like limited edition, it's normally a very expensive model. But this was actually painted on eBay, going for the same price that it would cost to obtain just the metal model unpainted. And so I thought that was an amazing deal, so I scooped that up when I saw it. And it's painted very well. It would take me a really long time to try to paint something that well, so it's like well worth the money. This is one I painted to go with the Wyvern. It still needs a matte coat because parts of it are still shiny from the gloss varnish. But this is probably maybe 3-4 hour paint job. So I took a lot more time on this one than I did with like those, but I wanted them to still look like they belong in the same army, but I do want this guy to have a little bit more detail. So he comes off of his base, which I'll show in a bit. And then here's the goblins that I just finished. There's a couple stragglers here. So again, just something I wanted to be able to do that was quick, but detailed enough where I think it looked good. little bit of a conversion there with the goblin holding a torch, which I thought was kind of cool. But yeah, so the eyes and the teeth on all these guys are painted. And then I guess this guy's probably my favorite. I can show you just him for example. His eyes aren't really showing up on camera. There you go. Just something simple. There is highlighting. There's 3 shades of green on these guys. And a few shades of brown. But I wasn't trying to expertly place it. I was just trying to get it where it goes and move on so I can complete the unit. These guys are magnetized, so they fit in there pretty well. Kind of just magnetized down. So that's that unit of goblins, spearmen. These are forest goblins. Normally you can't buy this kit. Actually, this is just a bunch of spider rider models, and I didn't put them on the spiders. I just used them as ground infantry. And then these guys up here on the stone bases, those models are from the Ragnarok kit, giant spider kit, and I actually had to special order sprues of these guys just by themselves. So this whole unit is a very financially expensive endeavor, but I really wanted like this savage theme, or like just, I don't know, just a, I guess not a savage theme, but I wanted to be very closely related to these guys. So, you know, some tribal in some way, not using any metal. So these guys, I figured this stone, if you look at the stone's kind of like a bluish color to their weapons they're using. I figure that's some type of like really strong obsidian, or I don't know, flint, or some type of strong material that maybe is like as strong as a metal, but it's actually a stone, and it's just unique to these guys. Just a little bit of a flavor with it. There's the wyvern that I painted, and then I'm gonna pause this and show you the guy on the wyvern. Okay, so here's the wyvern, and you can see these holes I drilled in it after sculpting this fur on its back. I had to remove a lot of metal like items from this wyvern as well to try to keep the theme. And then this guy's got, I don't know if you can see it, he's got 2 magnets on his feet. And so these are perfectly spaced, so I can just put them on the wyvern like that. And they fit right in. And so this is him riding the wyvern. Or he has his regular base, or he can just be on his base. But yeah, so like that's the army so far. I have some other units. I think the next unit I want to make are these guys. So these guys are like a special unit from Age of Sigmar. Normally they have a bunch of like armor plating on them, and they have metal weapons. But I took some of these stone tipped kind of spearheads from this Savage Orc kit and put it on their spears. And then I took some of the like bone mouthpiece and other things, and this I'm going to paint like bone. I have to green stuff over this chainmail and make it into like a rag or cloth. And I didn't want to put their back armor on, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this gap, and then I'm going to sculpt a normal back on them. And so they're going to be like my Savage Orc war boar riders. And this is in use for in place of a chariot, so I could use this as like a boar chariot or a goblin chariot of some sort. I just thought they were really cool and dynamic and would fit the theme really well and look pretty awesome. And I didn't really want to go through making these, like more of these. I just think it's cool to have like a varied look in general. So it's the same base size, and with not the 9th Age, which is what I'm primarily playing, or even with Games Workshop, you can convert models and use them as stand-ins as long as the base size is correct and people get an idea of what they're supposed to be. And so I thought this was cool. I have 3 of these guys built. So it's a really cool looking unit. I'll try to show you them. So I guess you would arrange them like maybe like this. Yeah, so they look pretty cool, like stampeding through the battlefield. I think those are awesome. So that's a cool conversion that I'm pretty excited about. And I think these will be next on the list to like paint for my Savage Orc themed army. I'm also got a giant in there. I got to do a little bit of work on these, but these are going to be my spear Chukkas. So instead of like a mechanical object, it's just 2 orcs throwing a giant spear. So I'm probably going to mount it on a base, and a circular base, and base it up a little bit higher. And just kind of give it this look. So I have a couple of these for my spear Chukkas. I have a rock lava, which is like a trebuchet. And so I'm going to use this, some toy from, I think, Mage Knights or something. But it's actually like, you can pose this if you want. But I think I'm going to make this rock look a little bit more like these rocks that these goblins have. And these are old school rock lava goblins. And they have little tooth necklaces and little loincloths and stuff, just like the forest goblins do. So that's pretty cool that almost all the work's done to like make these fit the theme. I'm just going to give them a feather. I have extra like bits that have feathers on them from that kit. And so I'm just going to maybe sculpt, use some green stuff to attach one of those like plastic feathers to their heads and keep that theme going. I'll have to glue these on a base and pose these in some way. But I think these guys are really cool. I mean, they need to be repainted, probably stripped of their paint. But I think that's pretty cool. And so I'm just trying to kind of make this army like into a specific theme, but still have everything be pretty recognizable on what it's going to be. But I don't know if you like this stuff or not. Here's like some of the other things. I just got boars that I'm going to use as individual, like instead of using like goblin units on wolves, I was thinking about just using just the boars, like a pack of them, for some type of redirectors in the game, because it's kind of a tactical unit based game. There's a bunch of forest goblin bowmen that I got also, that all came off that Arachnarok spider kit that I like special ordered a bunch of sprues from. So I have a bunch of bowmen. I have some regular boar riders, Savage Orc boar riders. I made like a scrap wagon out of a bunch of spears and wolves and stuff. I'm gonna have a couple giants. I got another giant at my house. So I have so many mages.